Hi, it's Ileana here. So today I wanted to talk about my database information from my ACIO records that were on file for my MILAB and SSP dealings that I got to talk to with Peter the Insider about. It was a 3 hour Skype session, and it was quite interesting. It just it all happened in an interesting way, because I was looking to find out more information about my records, and I had contacted a few different people, and what I was told was not very satisfactory to me. I was told you were never in the SSP. There's no such records of you existing in there. You had early contacts with ETs and you had abductions, but you don't have an SSP record of any type. Not with the SSP Alliance, not with the ICC or the Dark Fleet. ICC is the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, basically. And the SSP Alliance stands for Secret Space Programs Alliance. So, that didn't really strike any chord of truth with me, though. And before any of that happened, any of those email exchanges, I had contacted James Rink after one of our interviews about the SSP in my memories. And he said, well, I have a friend who works for the Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization called ACIO, and I'll put you on the list to talk to Peter the Insider about the database records that he has access to through the ACIO. It's read-only files that he accesses in an encrypted computer connection. He does these sessions through Skype. It's all done for free. He doesn't charge for any of these services. So you select a specific time with him where you're both available, and you need to be quite organized in terms of, going through the information with Peter, because he is a soldier. So you need to be very organized and concise with him. So basically what Peter and I discussed was my ACIO record of the Russian-Israel MILAB experiences and some of the secret space program files that I have. So I'll just go point by point because I have a PDF record of what we talked about during those 3 hours in the session. So I'll go by that because that's my file record basically that I recorded. In order to check the ACIO Advanced Contact Intelligence Organization database record files, information that should be provided is knowing a person's full name in English and the original language from country of birth. Also full date of birth, month, day, and year. So you need to know that information in order to be able to access your ACIO records from the main database. It was found that I have 2,000 records relating to the EAK subjects: Ukrainian, Russian, Israeli, Canadian, and US files. There were many files on the subject's family history on father's side, so that was interesting because my father had been in the military, in the Russian army, so that was interesting. So there is a army background on his side, and also his great-grandfather had some dealings as well. So, and it relates to the family kind of records, I guess. But I'm going to be talking about myself, not that military background of my father's, because it is associated, but I wanted to know more specifically about my records. So basically, point number 3 is that at the age of 2 to 10 during the years 1987, the case subject was abducted by the Drazo Black reptilians that were 14 feet tall, Sharab Invictus reptilians that were yellow. They were 12 feet tall, and a tall man with gray skin, which belonged to the harvester alien humanoid group who harvests people's DNA, monitors and changes their genetic predisposition. So this man was humanoid looking, with black, red, gray, long hair, and a beard. He was 14 to 16 feet tall. The reptilians would be the ones to inject human children with femtites, femto plus teknites equals femtites, which are like nanonites, nanotechnology in our terms, what's happening right now. But these femtites are quite advanced and they're small. The femtites can manipulate nuclear energies in building atoms, as well as manipulating the energy of quarks. And a quark is an elementary particle and a fundamental constituent of matter. Quarks combine to form composite particles called hadrons, the most stable of which are protons and neutrons, the components of atomic nuclei. For femtites, you need the quarks from the atoms to make whatever atom you want, and can alter DNA structures in a human body on the molecular as well as the subatomic level, blocking the natural cycle of psychic abilities within a growing human being and also damaging the basic growth cycle of hormones. So this impacted my life quite a bit because I had something really nasty injected into me, as the following sentence will show. The subject, EAK, was injected with 36,000 femtites, similar to nanites, nanomachines, which were transported into the bloodstream and attacked the subject's nervous system, autoimmune system, damaging the body and causing all types of autoimmune disorders, such as Hashimoto's thyroiditis, hemiplegic migraines with paralysis. Basically, where you get a migraine that's very painful and you get an aura. You can't see clearly, your vision is blurry, your speech is not coherent, so it's slurred speech. Basically, you're numb. Parts of your body are numb, and you're confused and you can't think straight. So that's what happens in these episodes with hemiplegic migraines with paralysis. And sometimes I also have seizures. So that was part of what the femtite technology did to me. It really basically almost ruined my nervous system and my autoimmune system. So it makes it hard for me to function in daily life activities. There's also vitamin and nutrient deficiencies in the body, light sensitivity, cold sensitivity, sound sensitivity, and food intolerances. I am allergic to most foods that have gluten in it, or wheat, or grain. So I'm on a very different food regimen than most people are. I don't eat GMO food. I don't eat any food that has MSGs in it. So it has to be organic food for me. It's mostly salads, free-range turkey, fruits, organic yogurt. So all my food has to be organic. Otherwise, I'll get seizures, migraines, and the paralysis episodes. And I'm also very sensitive to lights, especially for fluorescents and LEDs. I get all confused and tired, fatigued, and I can't think straight, and I get a migraine. So my lighting has to be adjusted properly. Otherwise, I'm just not able to concentrate properly or function during my daily life. And I'm very sensitive to smells as well. If anybody's using strong detergent that smells or perfume, I start coughing immediately and I can have an anaphylactic shock because I can't breathe properly. Like my airways close up and I get a migraine, and it's just awful. So that's how the 36,000 femtites/nanites have affected me, my system. I actually had to get a hysterectomy done to remove my uterus and my cervix, where most of the femtites were concentrated. So because I was losing a lot of blood unnecessarily, my hormones were stimulated in the wrong way. So I had to get all of that removed just so I can walk and talk properly, because I was so tired. My iron levels were down to 15, which is below normal. I was extremely anemic for the longest time, like for about 15 years of my life. And I missed a lot of work. I was spending so much time in bed. And I'm still missing a lot of work because of the damage to the nervous system and the autoimmune system with all these migraines and sensitivities and allergies. It makes it hard to function in everyday normal life out there, work-wise and socially. So, sometimes it's a struggle just to get up and go to work. It is right now, because I cannot see properly. And because of that, my vision is impacted, my brain is impacted, and that's just because of being exposed to fluorescent lighting. It's as simple as that. So basically, these femtites were designed to kill the subject by making her vulnerable to human viruses that attack the central nervous system and eventually erode the functions of the human body, with the potential of making the subject an invalid. Actually, as a child, between the ages of 4 to 10, I was in many hospitals, hospitalized for being sick with different viruses. I had suspected meningitis. I was infected with the Epstein-Barr virus. I was on antibiotics most of the time as a small child, because I would catch colds and flus and viruses every week. My tonsils were inflamed and very toxic. They were removed in Israel. So basically, I, from an early age, I was frail. And when I was 4, I actually, that's when I caught the Epstein-Barr virus, and it affected me in a very bad way. I was in the hospital for 2.5 weeks, paralyzed with a fever, having seizures and migraines. So, being infected with these femtites, nanomachine technology can really affect your life, and that's what the reptilians did to me. I was taken to underground bases somewhere in Europe and also in the US, and I saw children chained to the walls or sitting huddled on these mattresses in these underground bases. I was also taken to the moon as a young child, where they did all kinds of genetic experimentation on children and youth. Mainly the reptilians have a few bases there. The Black Drazo reptilian fleet has bases on the moon, and those are off limits to humans because they do a lot of genetic experimentation. And also the harvester genetic races who do experiments on humans, they're also there eating the reptilians. So it's a huge, large experiment that a few various negative ET species are running. And they think it's fine, that it helps to figure out how DNA works, to improve genetic structures, but it's not fine to experiment with humans, not at all. And it's interesting also, there's size comparison of nanites and femtites that Peter mentioned to me, because I didn't know that. So basically, nano plus teknites equals nanites. Nano is times 10 minus 9 in size. Femto plus teknites equals femtites. Femto is times 10 minus 15, so it's very small. Nanomachine technology. the femtites. That's just part of it, part of the technology. So while I lived in Ukraine as a child, the subject EAK during 1989 participated in the experimental group 32 that was run by Andrei Sarnov and the Yakolev Biotech Engineering and Aircraft Group, doing genetic experiments by putting different types of drugs into the female subject to see how dormant psychic abilities could be stimulated and how they worked. Femtites could not completely suppress subjects' psychic abilities. The experimental group 32 was interested in how the subject's remote viewing abilities functioned. So basically, these drugs heavily impact the brain, and you do feel like you're being gutted from the inside out because they do drug experiments on you. So it's not a coincidence that I said the word gutted instead of pudding, because it feels like you're being gutted from the inside out and experimented on to see how your psychic abilities work. Especially for a young child, that's traumatic to go through that. To have these genetic experiments done on you, to see what drugs stimulate your psychic abilities, your photographic memory, to see how all that works. And in Israel during 1991, Alvin Sehin Topher, a neuroscientist, ran brain testing experiments on the EAK subject, seeing how the brain would function when the brain's left and right hemispheres were polarized, so the brain would function at full 100% capacity in terms of being able to open natural time dilation portals organically without any technological use levitation abilities, etc. So basically, we were trained to use visualizative meditation and mapping manifestation factors to create anything that the subject wished to see in the physical existence or reality in order to fully develop psionic abilities to 100% capacity, in order to be able to precognitively see the future. When a subject is able to manifest something on the physical plane of reality with their mind, then they are able to also potentially have the capacity to change or alter timeline outcomes by literally manifesting a different timeline matrix destiny from what it was supposed to be, thereby creating a whole new reality paradigm where the future looks nothing like the original timeline matrix system. So basically, you're able to alter states of reality. You interact with different timelines through the quantum leaping ability. That's time travel. And you can go to different dimensions, different realities. Basically, you can change a whole paradigm shift just by having these psionic abilities that are off the Richter. These programs train you to be able to do that, actually. These MILAB programs train you to do that. So it's amazing what can be accomplished through this training, but it can also be very painful. It takes its toll on the nervous system, the autoimmune system, the brain function, and the human body aspect and emotional states of being. And you can take information from the etheric level and splice it with the physical reality and time travel. So it goes beyond just one timeline. You can have link connections between current timelines that you're in and other future or past timelines or on other dimensions and see what's going on. So during 1995 to 1999, the subject EAK was put in a type of monarch program somewhere near the Sierra Mountains in the woods near a remote cabin, where the handlers would continually drown the subject underwater to see how long EAK could stay under the water and hold her breath. The water testing had something to do with adapting the human body to temporal space travel and anti-gravity environments for long-distance space travel, as well was trained in withstanding torture and not feeling any pain or guilt when questioning other assets and programs. The not feeling pain was conditioning designed so the subject would be numb to pain factors and would not react to any type of pain, could withstand feeling pain stimuli, and not break down when under stress or pressure. The Monarch projects dealt with trauma-based mind control techniques by trying to break down the subjects so they would have split and fractured multiple personality disorders, or tricking the mind to think that orders could be implanted into memories, so subjects would commit acts of terror, chaos, or harm others. Basically, it's mind manipulation or implantations of false or fake memories. That's something these Monarch programs are famous for, especially Monarch Industries. It was noted that the EAK subject was stubborn and could not be easily influenced or swayed through mind control, would not retain any implanted mind control triggers. So that's something, I would not easily be manipulated or triggered. As well, would not take orders that were implanted into the neocortex of the subject's brain functions. So those orders that they tried to manipulate into my mind would not stick. It wouldn't work correctly. So I'd still retain my real memories. And that really, really irritated them. They tried blank slating my mind and it wouldn't work. Because what basically happened is my brain was turned into a supercomputer. So it was not easy to manipulate my brain because of that supercomputer capacity. And I had photographic memory as an adult, and I still do. It works pretty well when I don't have migraines or auras or neurological trauma. So there were 3 handlers who are brothers who were associated with the Monarch program. Their names were Robert Miller, Jonathan Miller, and Jameson Miller. The 3 brothers were working for Monarch Solutions Ltd. Or Monarch Industries during the time that the conditioning experiments were being done. During 2000, the case subject participated in the Quantum Leap training program associated with one of the directors at CERN named Paul Sarin, who is in charge of the time travel concept training for assets being prepared for the time warp programs, doing 50 to 60 years and back in contracts. So basically it's a quantum leap time traveling program. There are 2 CERN labs in the US that have mini hadron colliders and underground bases. And those CERN labs are used to basically test out time travel portal technology that some of the SSP programs are developing or have developed already. So, and the lower MIC SSP programs know about these CERN labs. That information has been revealed to them. So basically, the EAK subject was in the Quantum Leap temporal program from 2001 to 2014. This program bends time and space so the subject exists in a somewhat alternative reality space-time that is synced with the current reality, so the subject could easily travel between both the alternative reality and the present reality. So there's multi-interaction because this program can bend time and space literally on the quantum levels. So the EAK subject did a 16 back service contract with the Quantum Leap temporal program The 60 years was done in the alternative reality with the ability to phase in and out of time, changing the time matrix of any reality where the subject ended up in. So I was basically stationed in various realities for missions, and I was able to interact with my current reality from where I was originally taken as a child. So that's interesting. Some people have no contact at all with their current realities as they do their 20 and back, or 50 and back, 60 and back. And I just want to mention that the reason that I was put in the Quantum Time Leap program is because I have my original memories of my ET lifetimes and my original genetic blueprints. So they wanted information from those memories and those genetic blueprints to basically make me an asset that could time travel, that can do quantum leaping, and utilize my memories to do further experiments, ET experiments. Because I have ET energy in me, not fully human. So sometimes subjects are taken in these programs, especially because they have their ET genetic blueprints. They have the memories of being ETs and lifetimes and experiences and information that can actually help build advanced technology and to do organic time travel. So that's very important to these MILAB programs and SSP programs. If you have the genetic disposition of an ET, of one or more ET races, and you have your memories, and those can be accessed, then you're in. They love to put you in a 50 to a 60 and back and have you in there as long as they can to do work for them. So during the 2000s, the EAK subject was stationed on 11 Mars ICC interplanetary corporate conglomerate bases and also on some of the Moon SSP locations. The EAK subject saw various medical labs on the Mars ICC bases where human body parts were fused with cyborg technology. Then a test subject's soul would be held in electrical containment. Once the cyborg body was ready, the soul would be transferred into the cyborg, and after half a day of disorientation, the subject's soul would adapt to the new cyborg body being fused with humanoid body parts. Some of the ICC bases have meat labs where human body parts are used from unwilling subjects to be harvested with the cybernetic technology, creating soldiers or scouts to be traded with other ET species. And the count is close to 1,000 advanced ET species who the ICC does business with, trading basically slaves, cyborgs, which in turn can be called super soldiers. That's quite common. Both living and dead body parts are used for harvesting. There are technicians who monitor what type of DNA, body parts, genetic material, and bones can be used for cyborg creations. Only the best tissue matter is used for splicing with cybernetic technology. The ICC trades the cybernetically augmented soldiers and scouts with other advanced ETs for medical serums to stop diseases or end the aging process, receiving technology that is hundreds of years more advanced that they can implement for building better ships that they can back engineer, also for building colony facilities, weaponry, healing medical pods, etc., as well as gaining rights for more trading routes in space and access to planets where they can build their colonies, especially for the ICC and the Dark Fleet colonies and bases. They've spread out beyond the solar system. There are ICC manufacturing plants on Mars and other planets in the Milky Way galaxy that build plasma bombs, cannons, and grenades, which can easily destroy cities, stations, or even planets. So basically, they have these plants on Pluto and Uranus where they mass produce these plasma bombs and cannon weaponry. The plasma weaponry is often mounted on cloaked ICC ships or Dark Fleet ships that use stealth technology in order to approach planets or stations before they are destroyed or taken over. The EAK subject has a photographic memory and advanced remote viewing abilities, so the memory recall retrieved of the Mars and Moon base geographical locations was accurate in terms of 85 to 95% inaccuracy rates. The ACIO agent insider called Peter said that these base locations are legitimately accurate, and he received copies of the exact same images or as were shown in this document that I have posted on my website and in some of my video presentations about the ICC Mars bases and labs. And I also included this in the document file. So that's basically what my information includes about my MILAB and ICC records from the ACIO database and my 3-hour session with Peter the Insider. So for me, this is basically some corroboration of what happened to me from my own memories that I have, from what I've been able to put in my presentations, from my experiences going back in hypnosis, retrieving these memories. There's too many corroboration points, and I've spoken to other people and had interviews that they had similar experiences to this. So it's kind of hard to not mention this information. And I have to acknowledge it, what happened to me, and make peace with it. And try to live my life here to function properly in this world for whatever time I have. Yeah, so I thought I'd share this information. So just for having it on record, if other people are experiencing unusual memories of having experiences of being on Mars, of being in secret labs, of being in space, of being abducted, tortured, then returned home, and having it happen again and again, that probably did happen. And it's worth exploring to see what information you have, what you can remember, to see whether it's true, whether it was implanted memories, whether it's something that really happened in your reality. Abductions by these SSP groups could be very traumatic, and it could be by human military SSP programs, or it could be alien abductions, and sometimes it could be side by side together. So hypnosis, if it's done right, it can work to retrieve memories. Working with a shaman to do soul retrieval and past life remembrance is worth pursuing. That's how I did it. And I also decided to self-study hypnosis techniques and combine that with my past life regression meditations that I created myself. And I was able to retrieve quite a bit of information. That way, I also do kinesiology on myself, and I ask yes or no questions. And I've asked certain questions about my time with the ICC and through pendulum work. And what I asked was I part of the SSP Alliance at any point? Was I part of that group? The answer was no. The pendulum swung in the no answer. And I asked the question of, was I part of the ICC Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate Group? The answer was yes. With the pendulum, which is like kinesiology. And I asked if I had any dealings with the Dark Fleet, and the answer was yes. That's not the group I primarily worked with, but the answer was still yes. So there are associations. Kinesiology is one way of how you can find out what happened to you, if you know what questions to ask. And I had originally studied kinesiology in a crystal course that I took about 3 years ago. And we studied how to do applied kinesiology with crystals and also muscle testing with a crystal pendulum that, is connected to your biofield life force energy. That's the pendulum work. But applied kinesiology mainly works with muscle testing. And I've done both on myself to compare the pendulum answers to the muscle testing. And it's the same answer always for the questions. So it's really worth exploring and trying various options, and hypnosis as well. And shamanic work. That's the various tools that I tried to get access to this information. And of course, speaking to Peter the Insider, he's a font of interesting information, and he can help you to explain the technical aspects of, if you were immersed with technology or had anything to do with advanced technology, he can answer those questions pretty well. I had no idea what the difference was between nanites and femtites. Nanites are bigger technology, actually, that are obsolete in the advanced programs, but femtites are used, which are much smaller nanomachine technology, which can manipulate DNA and body structures. The nanites are clumsier technology that could do a lot of damage. And femtites are much more flexible in terms of what they could produce and alter materials and build materials than nanites. But in this current timeline, nanite technology is what is being researched in modern technology. They think that's the best. And it could be used for medical applications, it could be used for technological applications, but nanites are less than superior technology. Femtites is the advanced technology that the secret space programs use and other secret organizations. So I just wanted to share that with everyone and, put it out there. Have the information available for people to compare and see and make their own decisions about what they think about it. So thank you and namaste.